In part one, we built a brand and competitor research brief for Bayside Physio using Claude. If you haven't watched that, go back. I'll leave a link in the description. It's the foundation for everything in this video. Today is all about visual identity. Before we touch any AI image tools, we need a logo, a brand kit, and a mood board. Without these, the AI is just going to produce a generic output. But with them, they produce on-brand creative in seconds. And this is the reason why most AI-generated content looks off-brand. Let's build it. Alrighty, so now we're getting into the design part. So we need to start with the logo, because it's impossible to build a brand kit without it. And you can't drop a clinic name into an AI-generated image without a mark to make it look professional. Most people think that logo design is out of reach without the help of a designer. It's not. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it with the tools that I've already been using in all of the rest of my videos. And the best part is that you can get the same results as me completely for free. The tool that I'm going to be using for the logo design is Gemini. Most people just assume that Gemini is built for lifestyle photography, but it can actually do some graphic design work as well. But I'm not going to lie to you, it's not really purpose built for that. There are definitely some other tools out there that you can use to get better results, but through the simplicity of this video, you can still get some really good results from Gemini. And a lot of those other tools that are better, you typically have to pay to use them. So I just want to show you what you can get with the free versions first, and then I'll do some other videos in the future that will show you how you can get better results with a tool that's purpose built and designed for what you're trying to do. And the one thing to remember is that the most important thing is the prompt. So as long as your prompt is specific, it has all of the details that you need to include, it's going to make sure that the results you get are good, regardless of the tool that you use. Because logo generation needs very, very specific instructions. You need to make sure that you're being very specific about the style, the icon, the typography, the weight. These are all the things that make up a really good logo design. So the first thing that I'm going to do is navigate over to Dribbble, and I've typed in wave logo. So our brand is Bayside Physio. So we want to find a logo that has kind of a beach wave theme, but obviously I'm trying to do this quick for the purposes of this video. So I'm just going to scroll down and have a look at some of the logos that are here. So I can see this is quite nice. Some of these logos here look pretty good. And whenever you see something you like, I'd recommend just saving it. So I found a couple of images that I like. I've downloaded them from Dribbble, and then I've just uploaded them into Claude. And then I've written a short prompt here that says, write a prompt for Gemini to produce a logo that resembles this. Make sure it has black ink and a white background. So I've been very specific about what I'm looking for. And then Claude has followed up with some follow-up questions. So it's basically asking me what I like about each of them. So I'm just going to put in here a combination across all of them, because obviously I want something unique. I don't want to directly copy these. I'm trying to find something that combines all of the different elements of these images, and I'm basically wanting something that's quite unique. And then it looks like Claude has gone through and defined some of the things from this image that work. And then I'm just going to, for the sake of this, I'm just going to click a few of these options here, and then Claude is going to come back to me with a prompt that's going to allow me to generate a logo with Gemini. So just to be super clear that you don't typically get these sorts of prompts straight out of the box using Claude. I'm using the Image Meta Prompting Expert. So that's another project that I've created in Claude that allows me to create image prompts that are a lot more detailed and that create some really great results. That's actually a free project that you can download and use yourself. So I've included a link to that below. So I'm just going to copy and paste this into Gemini. Okay, great. So Gemini is finished, and you can see the logo that's been produced here. I'll just open it up so you can have a look. Geometric, quite minimal, circular, which is what we asked for. Once again, as with all AI tools, you can engage and iterate and provide feedback. If you're not happy with this, we can go back and forth with Gemini to create something that's more in line with what you're after. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm pretty happy with this. I think it does look professional. It looks quite modern, and it's something that I'm happy to run with for this tutorial. So what I'll do, so I'm actually going to prompt Gemini here in exactly the same thread. I'm going to ask, what is the best font? And specifically a Google font. So Google have a whole set of fonts that you can use. These are all free and they're all widely available. All right, so it's provided a couple of recommendations for me here. I'm actually familiar with most of these fonts here, so I think I want something a little bit different. So I think I already have something in mind that I'd like to use. So what I would suggest doing here, once you've generated your logo, if you're happy with it, you can just simply download it or copy it, and then you can bring it straight over to Figma. So I won't have enough time to go into too much detail around what Figma is, but it is a design program. If you've used Photoshop and Illustrator, Figma is the newer version of those tools. And it comes with a lot of plugins. It comes with a lot of other AI functionality, something that I use every day for work and business. Alrighty, so as you can see, I've just pasted in our logo here. So you can see it's looking pretty good, but if we wanted to start using this as a brand asset, the state that it's currently in is not ideal. So I'll show you what I mean. It's what we call a raster image. So if I zoom in, you can see that when I zoom in really close, you can see that there are these pixels. See how it's not clear on the side here? So what we actually want is to turn this into what we call a vector. Now, a vector means that it's a clean shape. If I wanted to change the color of this, or if I wanted to make it bigger, if I wanted to put it on a billboard or a sign, then this current state wouldn't work. And it's quite easy to do that in Figma. I mentioned before about the AI functionality. There's a plugin that you can get called an image tracer. And if I click on that, what that's going to do is turn this into a vector. It looks like I have 3 uses remaining. So after that, it will be paid. So I'm going to click on that. Alrighty, and this is what we get. So you can see the difference here. So this is what we had before. If I zoom in, you can see the pixels on the side. It's not a very clean shape. But then if I scroll over here and I zoom in, you can see that it is clean. It's a vector, and even to prove the point, if I double click on this, you can see we have these points, and I can pull these points out and reshape the logo in whatever way I want to, but I'm pretty happy with the current form that it's at, so I'm just going to leave it. Alrighty, now I have my logo here. The next thing I want to define are the fonts. Now, it's best to only select one font, just for simplicity. I have decided to go with Poppins, which is a Google font. So it's the same font family, but I have 2 different weights just so I can create some contrast between different bits of text. If I want to have something that's a heading and I want to differentiate it from everything else, then that would be the purpose of having a bold font versus a light. And I've typed out Bayside Physio below here just so I can see how that sort of stacks up and fits together. The one change that I have made here, it's a pretty simple one, a little bit technical, but I've just changed the kerning of the font. So I've just made it -4, so it looks a little bit more pushed together, and for me, it makes it look a little bit more modern and complete. And these are the little extra 1% things that you can do if you're wanting to get a more professional look. So just to show you what it looked like before, straight out of the box, for me, that looks a little bit too spaced out. So -4 pushes it together, makes it look a little bit more complete. I've done the same thing with the Physio here as well. Alrighty, so the next thing I'm going to do is to choose just a basic color palette, and I want to choose something that's modern, but then also adheres to our brand theme. So the colors in the last video that I went through, I explained how they looked a little bit bland and dated. So I've gone with something that's a bit more modern, the primary color being that blue to resemble obviously the Bayside, and just a light and a dark so that we get some contrast. And then I've just picked a gray. This took me 10 seconds. So obviously spend more time on it if this is important to you. But for the sake of this tutorial, I want to get something quick that I know is going to look professional. Alrighty, so now that we have the color selected, I've actually gone ahead and applied the color palette to the logo. So you can see I've got the color palette below, and then I have different color variations of the logo just to see how that all hangs together. And I've worked with the composition of the brand mark with the logo type, and I've played around with a couple of different versions to see how it all stacks together. And for me, this kind of feels right for what we're trying to do. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with that. To create this, which happens to be the first couple of steps of building out a visual identity. Now what I want to do is put this all together into a brand kit. Now, like I said, we already have the main pieces, and to put together that brand kit, I'm actually going to use Claude to help me out with that. All right, so this is where all the documents that we created earlier really come in handy. So we have that Bayside Physio brand. We have the Bayside Physio brand brief here. We also have the market research that we conducted. We've got both documents here, so there's plenty of content in there for Claude to work with. And then what I'm also going to do is in Figma, there's an option to copy code. So I've got here the SVG code. I'm just going to copy and paste directly into here. And then what I might also do as well is just mention that the fonts that I'm using. So I've got here the fonts that I've selected. And then I'm also going to, in Figma, you can see all of the colors that I've defined here. These are the codes to allow Claude to understand which ones that I've selected. Instead of giving a screenshot, I'm just going to copy and paste the codes in. Alrighty, so I've popped all that in there. I'm going to hit send, and I'll see what Claude comes back to us with. All right, so whilst we're waiting, I'm just going to start building out a mood board in Figma. So this will help when we're trying to create social media images. So by putting together a mood board, we can find images that we like, and this will allow ingredients for us to create new social media images within a few seconds. I guess themes that we've already come up with. So we have the golden hour on the bay. So foreshore, running shots, golden light, coastal water, motion, warm, aspirational, attainable movement. We have here clinical calm, so airy clinical rooms, white walls, natural windows, light, hands-on treatment, clean, trustworthy, expert calm. And then we have community in motion, so triathlon events, family beach, walks, footy moments, authentic, energetic, local. And then we have recovery and resilience, so close-up hands, finish lines, quiet determination, hopeful, emotional, personal. So these are the themes and the words that we can use. And what I'll do to take this a bit further is just copy and paste one of them and then navigate straight over to Pinterest and just pop in the search term. And so you can see some of the images that are coming up. And this is really just about taste. What are the images that appeal to you? And so if this isn't your thing, then pick whatever appeals to you and spend as long as you want to on this. So just making sure that we're finding images that adhere to that theme and that you feel will suit your brand. So once again, we can go through here, find some images that we like, download them. Okay, cool. So I've gone through in Pinterest and I found a whole bunch of images that I like, and I've downloaded them and re-uploaded them into Figma. I found about 6 or so images for each of the different themes. So we can see we've got some people running into the beach. We have another one that looks like it's some people running a marathon. We have some people with surfboards. We have someone in the water. And then we have some other images here at the beach. For the second theme, we have clinical environments. These might be our own clinic, or it might be images of clinics that are similar to ours, indicating the treatment that we provide, showing that it's a modern but warm environment, trying to bring across the theme that we're clean and trustworthy and a professional setting. And then we have another theme here that captures the community. So we've got some community events, sporting events, triathlons. We've got these sorts of images where there are these sorts of activities happening near the beach, which fits our brand presence because we're obviously in Port Melbourne. And then we can see a very similar category as well. So once again, showing people recovering after a big race. We've got people who look like they're just about to hit the finish line and they're celebrating and happy about it. So once again, a couple of broad themes here that we can use to start generating some ideas and start generating some images from here. Alrighty, so we're back at the style guide that Claude has put together for us. So I'm just going to open this up to have a look at it in more detail. So we can see Claude has provided the brand palette. We can see that it has provided the typography and a couple of examples of how it might stack with if we were to use this in a website. We've got different heading sizes and different weights to see how it all stacks up together. We also have the grid system as well here. We have the UI building blocks. So these are buttons and different tags or alerts that we might use. And then we have form fields as well. And then it's talking about the different visual direction rules that we might want to adhere to. And then we go into template dimensions, tone of voice, and a few other things. So this was just the first version of this brand style guide. And I must say that I'm not too happy with it. I think there are some things that can be improved. And I'm going to try the same thing, but with a different version of Claude. Alrighty, so I'm in a different version of Claude here. So this is called Claude Cowork. So this is more advanced. This is something that once you've started using Claude for a while and you want to start using it with files on your desktop, I definitely recommend using Cowork. It's a lot more powerful. You can do a lot more things with it. And as I said, you can connect it to files on your desktop. So it means that you can unlock a lot more capabilities from Claude. So I've actually used a similar prompt, except I'm referencing some of the files that talk about the brand brief and also the differentiation strategy, but I've also downloaded all of the logos from Figma as a vector file, just so that Claude can actually use them in the brand document that we're trying to create. I'm not too sure if you noticed, but in the first version of that brand style guide kit, it didn't actually pull in any of the logo assets. So that was one of the things that I was a little bit bothered by. So I thought that we might as well use Cowork because we can get better results from using it. Cool, so it looks like it's done here, and I'm just going to scroll down here and then open it up. Alrighty, so this is more like it. So we can see here we've got brand style guide, Bayside Physio, move better, live better, bay life. So this is obviously the tagline that we came up with in the brand brief. And if I scroll down here, I can see we're using the exact logo that we designed in Figma, and we've got a couple of different versions of it. So obviously with the text on a dark background, on a light background, and then we have just the icon only. Couple of different versions of that. If I scroll down here, I can see we have the color palette as well. So primary, dark, gray, light, and then it's created the font here. We can see how flexible the font is. to make sure that we can use it throughout. Alrighty, so that's pretty much it for the brand style guide. Okay, cool. So that's part 2. So you have the logo with the different variations. You've got the color palette, the typography. We have the mood board already set up. So we have all of the elements that we need. The only thing that's missing is to create the images. Figma is a central source of truth because you can share it with anyone. If you have someone new on the team that you're bringing in to work on these things specifically for you, then you can quite easily share that file with them, give them access to all of your brand guidelines, and it just makes everything a lot more organized. In part 3, we're going to use everything that we've built in the last 2 videos, and we're going to put it all together and create a whole suite of social media images that are going to be on brand, consistent, and that you can use immediately for social media or any other marketing materials. And I think what you'll be quite surprised is how quickly those images will come together. I'll show you how to create a prompting system that has some components that allow you to create very, very similar images across different themes that are all on brand that you'll be able to create very quickly. It will only take a few minutes to get to a social media image. So I'll link to part 3 in the description. If you like this content, please hit like and subscribe, drop a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.